Apol- Apologies, everyone. I'm here. I think Amy should be here as well. Can someone give me a voice check here?
Hi, Andrew.
Apologies, everyone. I'm here. I think Amy should be here as well. Can someone give me a voice check here? Sorry. Okay, I'm just getting set up myself. Glad to see everybody here. Give it another couple of seconds. I'm going to throw something in the chat. I don't know if it'll be useful or not, but I'll explain it in a moment. And I'm going to share screen. All right, thanks everybody for coming. Can you see a big using Teams meetings in my Canvas screen? All right, thank you. Are you hearing me okay? Okay, good, good. We got a lot of people here today. That's terrific. I'm not sure what your expectations are. I hope we meet them. You may come in with a ton of questions. We will do our best to answer them, but understand that we only have an hour here, and the topic is a big one. So we'll do our best. Okay. Amy is here as well. I'm hoping that she can monitor chat and whatnot. Terrific. Thank you. All right. Are we ready to go? All right. So before we start, I've got a bit of a framework for this session. There are a number of things that I feel we need to talk about, or I need to tell you about perhaps before we get into the meat of the workshop itself. So bear with me. Again, bit of a presentation, and we'll set the framework for the rest of the session to come. So the first thing is a bit of a disclaimer. We are all in this together. The people that are bringing you this workshop are not Microsoft certified experts. We're users just like you. We may have some broader or deeper experience, or we may have used it a little longer than you. But frankly, we rely on your experiences to inform our own. So thank you for coming, and thanks for staying connected. And the more that you can share with us, not necessarily in this meeting, the better off we can support people like you. So the other thing we have to talk about is that presenting Teams meetings over Teams can be really tricky because, like in the early days of Zoom, and you might remember this, it was it was impossible initially to be able to share the things that you saw on your screen. So you, as an instructor, see the Teams windows, and you see toolbars, and you see navigational items, and those things are not, by design, are not shared in the presentation sharing window. So it's going to be difficult for me to show you everything that you may want to see. And so I'm going to be doing a fair bit of describing, and perhaps in your own Teams window, you can see the things and perform the things that I'm talking about. But again, it's difficult for me to show you the things that are on my screen. Now, what I did put in the chat, and someone might be able to test that for me, I put a link to a live stream on YouTube, which is sharing the same screen that I'm sharing now. The problem is that it's 20 seconds delay. So again, it will allow me to show you what I'm seeing on my screen from a Teams perspective, but it may not be useful because it's 20 seconds behind real time. Does that make any sense? All right, and the reason why I make such a fuss about it is because certainly it's an issue during a session like this, but it may also be a session, an issue when you're presenting and showing Teams meetings with students, because you may not be able to show them, may not be able to support them in using Teams the way that they need to in order to get the most out of the workshop. So that's again worth talking about. We have a couple of pro tips for you today. The, the first pro tip, it may be obvious, perhaps not, but you got to find yourself a Teams buddy like these AI generated characters here. With a Teams buddy, again, there's no better, quicker way to learn how to use Teams meetings. We can show you some things, but frankly, you need to experience it yourself. And to do that, it really, you need a willing partner to do it. So from whatever you take from this session, certainly you need to practice it with a colleague. Um, Pro tip number two, and this is not to promote our videos, but there are 5 of them available on the CTLI website. We can give you an address to that later. But these things, these videos are able to show the things that I may not be able to show you over Teams today. So I suggest that they're a pretty good resource for you. And they cover what we think are the most important things that you need to know right now, which is one, setting up that initial connection in your course to a meeting, configuring that meeting, configuring your own AV settings before you connect, the basics of any Teams meeting, and one on advanced features. So let's do the what of this. So Teams meetings is that component of Teams that enables web conferencing, the virtual meetings. And as you know, because you're here, Mohawk College is replacing Zoom use with Teams meetings. That's a financial decision as much as anything. And appreciate that Teams meetings is that component that allows, again, features like screen sharing, real-time polling, recording, whiteboard use. It supports, the intention is for it to support all your synchronous delivery needs, right? So I hope that's clear. We're not talking about Teams proper. We're talking about Teams meetings. And the intention is not to drive your course activity into Teams, right? You're going to use my Canvas for that. So I hope that lowers the temperature a little bit. Some are concerned that we're looking to you to use the delivery components of Teams for your course, and that's not the case. All right, so that's the what of it. The when of it, again, these dates have been published for you. You're not going to see the Zoom link on your course navigation menu after May 1st. So that's for the courses that are about to start. We'll start, should say we, um, Zoom accounts, your personal accounts will start to be removed starting June 1st. But thankfully, Teams meetings are available through an integration in My Canvas, and they have been for almost 5 years, and you can start to use it immediately. So that's the good part. All righty. Let's look at some resources for you. Again, a good starting point is the CTLI website, the ATS site. That's a QR if you want to grab that, or of course, this will be in the recording. Um, that's a good starting point. At the CTLI site, you will find um, uh, documentation that we've created, some simplified documentation, and of course, access to those, what I think are five pretty fundamental videos that I'm sure will help. At the end of each of the videos are these three links, the links to CTLI sites, the resources, the link to specific Teams resources from Microsoft, and a link to the CTLI workshops calendar, which you all know how to find anyway because you found your way here, which is great. Give me a second here. All right, we have to talk a little bit quickly about browser versus desktop. Now, I think you know, or perhaps you don't, that when you launch into a Teams meeting, you're given a choice of whether you want to use browser or whether you want to use the installed desktop version. And they are somewhat different. The reason why it's important to talk about it is because your students will be making that choice too. If you have gone through the trouble or you have to install it, or you have an image, a Windows image from the college that includes the desktop version, then that's certainly the version that you're going to choose to use. Again, you have a choice, right? I believe the first time you make that choice, you can choose to sort of lock that choice in, and then you never have to think about it again. But do remember the first time you launch, you will be able to use a browser version, or which is web, or you'll be able to use the desktop version. Our suggestion is, whenever possible, use the desktop version. There is some functionality, believe it or not, that is not available in the browser version. So for you as the organizer, that's the permission level that you have as a creator of a Teams meeting and the administrator of it. You want to have as much functionality as possible. So again, use a desktop version whenever possible. We've done some testing on this as well, and it's true that the browser version, which again, a lot of students I assume will be using, is the performance of that application is far more dependent on and determined by bandwidth than the desktop version. So if students, for instance, if you find that students are having trouble with the connection or with the quality of the experience, it might be due to the fact that they're on the browser version. And there's a question there. Sorry, I have a question. Is this option?
No, you're good.
We're good? Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So once again, the recommendation is to use a browser version only in what I would say an emergency. and or on a machine where you can't install the software. And again, I think it's important to talk about this because you don't know what your students are going to be on, what device they're going to be on, desktop or browser version, and I think um, we'll have to sort of work through that together. All right, let's talk quickly about roles and permission. When you build the connector to a Teams meeting and in doing so create the meeting, you're the organizer. Organizer has lots of permissions, right? Uh, more so than your end users who are students. Students, again, if they come in the way we're suggesting they will, um, and we'll perform that in a moment, will be presenters. So understand that they have a fairly high permission level in your meetings. For example, their permission level allows them to take over the screen and share. Now, that's enabled in the default permissions of the meeting. So we will talk about in a few minutes, talk about looking at what those default permissions are in the meeting and adjusting them if, for instance, you don't want the students to take over your screen. All right. So again, they're presenters, fair degree of ability. And those that join from the browser version and are not authenticated, and you're going to find people, you're going to find users sitting in the lobby that where the user has not authenticated. The system doesn't know that they're part of the Mohawk domain, and those will be recognizable because probably they'll be in the lobby and you'll need to let them in, and they will have had to type in a name for themselves. And again, this doesn't make a lot of sense until you experience it as the instructor, right? So it's our suggestion that because you don't know how your students are going to be coming in initially, you'll want to check that lobby, right, in case there are users there. And you will then make a determination as to whether you want to let them in or not, right? Because that's up to you. I know uh, this is not a lot of fun. So the things that we're prepared to talk about today are there on the screen, sort of organize them by intro materials, the basics, and advanced. And the reason why this sort of makes sense to lay it out this way is because this is how we've laid out the videos that I've talked about. You'll want to look at those three initial, what I call introductory videos first, and then look at the basic and advanced. And these topics are covered in those videos. So what I'd like to do while I take a sip and keep my voice is allow you to take a look at these topics and tell me what you want to cover in the next 40 minutes or so. And certainly we've got longer than 40 minutes if you have. Well, certainly stay in it. I think at the very least, I'm going to want to show you how to make that connection in your course to a meeting, and in doing so, create the meeting. That's our integration. It's no more difficult than that. That is the course then that you will use to conduct the singular meeting that you will use to conduct your synchronous activity for your deliveries. So we'll show you how to set that up, and we can show you how to make sure the settings are what you want and need for your teaching. And we can show you how to make sure that your meetings are recorded and how to then get the recording into your course or courses in using my media. So that's at a base level, that's kind of what I'm thinking we need to cover. The rest is totally up to you. So I'm gonna pause for a moment and let you guys speak or not. I'll do the old trick. Is this on?
I have my hand raised.
Sure, Christine. Yeah,
In terms
please.
of picking topics, I'm Christine. I'm from the PN program. We do, for a lot of our courses, online seminars in which we use breakout rooms
Sure.
quite frequently. So I would love to hear more information on, when we're in our team's calls, how do we set up and create those breakout rooms for our
Great.
students? And we have sometimes breakout rooms where students can just, kind of break out into any room with any students. But then sometimes we do require students to choose a specific room based on their
Yeah,
group number, and they all meet weekly with the same students.
very good. All of that is possible, of course, within the configurations for that are available for rooms. Breakout rooms in Teams meetings are called rooms. And you may not have seen them, and that may be partly why you're asking about them. You may not have seen them on your navigation menu, the Teams navigation menu. You probably don't see it in the meeting that you're in now, right? But I do. And when you are the organizer, right, which is that high permission level user, when you make the meeting itself, then you'll have ability to create rooms and configure them for how you need to use them. The basics video does cover, I think it's the basic one. Uh, does cover breakout rooms. And I would suggest, again, because it's going to be tricky for me to show you unless you look at that YouTube feed that I shared the link out to earlier. And again, you can tell me if that works or not for you, watching the YouTube stream. Because again, I can't show you my team's configurations on the screen. They won't, right? They will not show. Um, is it okay, the idea of showing you how to make that first meeting and check the permissions and settings for that meeting? Is that a reasonable place to go? Catherine, thank you. Thank you, Craig. All right. Well, let's do that then. That's the end of our presentation here. Let me kill that, and I'll simply bring up a browser. Here's one. Okay, everybody looking at a course here? I hope. All right. It's just a demo course. It's no different than any course that you're given to deliver. The important thing to know is that you may be looking to set up the Teams meetings from a course navigational item like there used to be with Zoom. That's not going to be the case with us, at least not for now. That's complication that I won't get into. But what I'm going to show you now is how to set up a meeting for Teams within your course, and it, you need to get your head around this as well. The method that we're supporting here creates one meeting, and it's that singular meeting that will be used throughout the delivery. Okay? That's going to be perhaps a little different for some of you who are used to scheduling 12 or 13 or 14 meetings. Okay? If you have any questions, please let me know. Okay, so the way we create Teams meeting, believe it or not, is through the use of the rich content editor. There's a function on the rich content editor that allows you to do that. So you would make a determination in your course where you think the link should be. And for our purposes today, I think the place for it might be on the homepage because you're going to use it regularly. So let's decide that it's going to be on the homepage. Could it be in an announcement? Certainly, or on a page? Certainly. But let's choose a specific page, and that's going to be the homepage. So what I need to do is open the homepage, in this case, in the editor, the rich content editor, by hitting edit. Right? I'll expand this a little bit. So on this homepage, what have I got? I got a big logo and I've got an embedded application, embedded presentation. And I think the ideal place for the link is between the two, right? I have to decide physically where I want to put this. So I would think below the the logo would be a good spot. So I'll just give myself a little bit of room there. Flashing cursor, that's where whatever I do now, it's going to happen. And what I want to do is go into the apps menu, which you might think of as the plug. Click on that. I'll choose to view all. And I'm scrolling down here. I'm looking for the Microsoft Teams Meetings application. That'll be available in the pop-up applications. I will select that. Give it a second. We may need, if you haven't for a while, you may need to sign in. Signing in is simply a matter of clicking that purple button. That will do a single sign-on to your M365. And now you're ready to make what they call the meeting link. But it's more than that. It's also making the meeting itself. All right. So if you're with me, I'm gonna click on create meeting link. That takes me to this thing that looks like a scheduler, but in fact really isn't. The thing that's required, the only thing that's required actually, is a title. So we will call it our perpetual class meeting. Okay, that's the name I'm going to use. And again, I'm using that name just to reinforce the idea that for most people, this is how it's done. They create one single meeting to support their team's use throughout the delivery of the course. Okay? So I'll call it our perpetual meeting class. Now you're probably wondering, because you're seeing some scheduling options here. I'm telling you that they mean nothing, as odd as that sounds. So I'm not even going to care about them. I'll reinforce the idea that this meeting will be perpetually open. All right. So forget the closes at 4 o'clock. I will hit create. Give me a second. All right, and believe it or not, we've now done it. All right. So because I'd like to exit this screen and show you what we've built, but I don't want to do that. I'd rather take the time right now to talk about meeting options. So bear with me so that I'll show you what the link looks like in just a few moments. But because now we have the ability to look at those meeting options that I've talked about. And can we look at them later? Can we adjust the permissions and the settings for the meeting later? Yes, of course. It's just difficult for me to show them to you later. So we're together here, going to jump into, before we exit off this operation of creating the link, I'm going to jump into the meeting options by clicking this link on the screen here and look at the settings for the meeting. You may never do this. You may never go into the settings, but it's, I think, we think, really important that you understand at the very least how that meeting is going to behave. If you don't do, if you don't adjust any of the settings. I hope that makes some sense. So we've got a whole bunch of options for this meeting, and they're organized in 7 different categories. I say 7, and then probably the next time I look at it, there'll be another set. That's Microsoft for you. So let me look at meeting access as an example, and we'll go through these. I'll go through these fairly quickly. Who can bypass the lobby? Right now, people in my org can bypass the lobby. You understand what the lobby is, right? It's like a waiting room in Zoom. So what this says is that anyone who is authenticated, any user, any student, let's talk student here, any student that is authenticated, when they click on the link in your course, they will go immediately into the meeting. And that's more than likely a good thing. People that are not authenticated in the mohawkcollege.ca domain will not go into the meeting. They will go into the lobby. And again, I point that out because that's a behavior that you have control over. If you decided, for example, this may be opening up a security issue, but if you decide that everyone, I just made a change there, everyone bypasses the lobby, then that's what will happen. Doesn't matter who's trying to get in, they will get in. If, though, you decide that you want all your students to be in the lobby until you explicitly allow them into the meeting room, that might be a strategy that you want to follow. It might be that you're recording the meeting and you don't want anything on that recording unless you're there to hear it, support it, shut it down, whatever. So who can bypass the lobby is an important permission to understand. I'm going to set it back to default, which is people in my org. I'll scroll down here now to roles. Remember, I mentioned that by default, everyone can present, meaning everyone can hit the share button, right? And they can present. If you don't want that, you would then probably change that option to only organizers and co-organizers. And a co-organizer, you can take any participant, any presenter, sorry, which in your case will be students, and you can promote them to a higher level. The next level is a co-organizer, and they can help you manage certainly a meeting. But know that by default, any student, any of your students can at a whim can take over the screen. Everyone is default. Remember that. And by default, every student can enter a meeting with their mic on and with their cameras on and use them throughout, which is a good thing, I would say. If for whatever reason you did not ever want them to be able to use a mic or a camera, you can turn it off in the global setting for that meeting. Okay, but understand that it is on for them by default. Reactions are turned on by default. That's a good thing. Let's go down to recording. By default, meetings are not recorded. But if you decided, as I do sometimes because I'm forgetful, I will choose to turn that setting on. And once I do a save, forevermore, that meeting will start in being recorded. Certainly I can pause it or I can turn it off during the meeting. I can stop and start it, but by default, the meeting will start uh, with the uh, with the um, with the recording on. Okay. I don't think I've missed anything. Oh yeah. One last thing that we should talk about. I'm in the participation group here, and the meeting chat by default is on. Okay, that sounds like a good thing. But the problem is, again, as I say, this meeting that we're creating is not tied to the calendar. So the students will see evidence of this meeting in their Teams, if they in fact use Teams at all. And they will be able, with this default setting, they'll be able to continue in the chat and posting uh, chat while they're outside of the meeting proper. That may drive you crazy, and you may not want that because you'll be getting the chat alerts as well. So what you might want to do is change the meeting chat default setting to in meeting only. And again, you may forget this until you see it in action and you see activity in a chat in a meeting that you're not in, and you may want to turn that off. So it's a matter of going into the settings. Now, don't forget, I mentioned that the only reason I'm showing you this now is because it's difficult for me to show you this in using Teams. Okay, so I'm going to save whatever changes I made. I don't remember what changes I've made, frankly. Um, but now I can kill uh, my tab that came up while I was building that connection to the meeting. I can turn off that tab. I can hit copy, as odd as that sounds, and that exits the process of creating the link. Okay, so we're back in the rich content editor. I'll just do one or two simple things to finish off this operation. I would suggest that maybe this is a bit small, so maybe I'll use the editor and make it a little bit bigger, and maybe I'll align center, and I'll get rid of a couple of extra lines that I don't need, and I'll do sorry, I've lost my, sorry about that. That's what I wanted. And we're we're done. So what we've done is created the link to the meeting, and anyone from now on who follows that link will arrive in the meeting. I'm going to take a sip here for a second, and then I'll show you, if you're interested in how to make this a little more elegant in hiding the link behind a button. But maybe if there are questions, I see there's questions happening in the chat. That's terrific. I'm not able to see any of it. So anything that needs to be said out loud.
There is a question about changing the settings after you've already added it.
All right, I can, if you want, again, this is one of those things I can't show, except if you look at uh, the link that I created in for the YouTube uh, screen share. Has anyone checked that yet to see if it's working?
It's working. I've been on it.
Okay, good. Well, then, if Lisa, you can confirm with me, then I'm gonna bring my my Teams window. Give me a second here.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Um, so right now, it's only Lisa that would probably be seeing my Teams window on the YouTube stream, and it probably in about 10 seconds from now she'll see it. No one else will see it on the shared Teams window. But what I'm gonna show you how to do is get to the settings, and Lisa will be able to confirm this. The settings for any meeting, once you're in a meeting, is to go to, I think it's View, More Options, or is it More? No, sorry. It's More. So the More button on the Teams toolbar, jump down to the sixth option, which is Settings, and Meeting Options is that third level. Once you're in the meeting options, what you'll see are the choices that we just looked at previously. And I'll tell you, and maybe it's just because I don't worry about it much, but the functionality in Teams is broad, right? In Teams meetings is broad. There's a lot of levels to it. And I'm thinking that if you're thinking there should be a way to do something, you're probably correct. And it's just a matter of finding it. So again, I'm reinforcing that idea of getting a Teams meeting testing buddy and working through this together. That's, in my mind, that's the only way. That's the only way to do it. Okay, so
Andrew, quick question.
you bet.
It's Lisa. So I'm teaching the second 7 weeks of the semester, and
Ah.
somebody else is teaching the first 7 weeks. So I think, in my mind, the first teacher, the May-June teacher, can set up the teams, but make me a co-presenter
Sure.
or co-facilitator. And then when I come back in July, I just continue, or we can do two different.
If you're looking for a suggestion, I might choose to use two different, that you each set up a unique meeting for the 7 weeks. But certainly, yes, you can share one single meeting.
Okay, good.
Yep. And I think yeah, I mean, you've hit on something really important, which is and I think we've only got smart people in the room here, but there are those who might think to start the semester using Zoom, and then midway sort of crash and burn because Zoom will be gone. So again, certainly start the delivery with using Teams is our suggestion. Melissa.
Hi, Andrew. I was the one asking about getting into those settings. Thank you for covering
Oh,
that. So
okay.
first, what I'm gathering, you have to be in the meeting
Mhm.
to get to
That's right.
it. Nice. And then I noticed you were saying that we shouldn't be able to see your videos and chats that you dragged onto the screen, but we can see them in here. So I'm just trying to make sure I understand.
Right. I'm probably not explaining it well, but what I'm saying is that when I go into my Teams, right, as the organizer of this meeting, I cannot show you the things that you would that I'm seeing because Teams disallows that from being webcast. It's a function of Teams that I can't show you my Teams screens. I can.
Okay, maybe I just
It doesn't make it right. No, I understand, and it won't make any sense to you until you try it yourself. and you try to show someone something and they're not seeing it. So, okay. And again, if being confused about it is, that's on me because I'm not explaining it well. Um, sorry, any other?
Right.
Hey, Craig.
Yeah, yeah, so when I went onto the YouTube, you could see, the Teams panel. But here I couldn't see it in the meeting itself.
Right. Thank you. Yeah.
So another question, if you wanted to have a lobby, let's say you want to set things up for your meeting and, you don't want the students there as you're setting up, kind of like what you were doing. And then you bring the students in. Is it easy to sort of change that setting so that,
Yeah.
after you start the meeting, everything's set up that no longer there's a lobby kind of thing?
It's really simple, but don't think that if you're in a meeting and you make a change, um, that will, let's say you make a change that only authenticated users, or maybe you make a change such that every student will enter the lobby rather than the meeting, right? By design, that's what you want. It's not going to kick everybody out of the current meeting and force them into the lobby. It's only the next time that you use the meeting will that setting be in effect. Does that make sense?
So that some of the settings, are while the meeting is active. And then the settings that you just went through will be the default once the meeting ends. It'll just switch back.
That's right. That's right. So if I want, for instance, if I find that you're talking way too much and I want to mute you, I can do that a couple of ways, right? I can go to, again, I can't show you this except on YouTube if you look on that YouTube link and in about 10 seconds.
We are seeing it though, actually, now in the meeting.
You're
I haven't seen that screen.
you're seeing my tiled screen?
Correct. Yeah, with the, chat,
Right.
raise,
Right.
react. So it is working.
It
I was on the YouTube and I was seeing it. Now I'm seeing it in the meeting. So maybe it was happening in the meeting.
Well, I'm baffled, but at any rate, let's take advantage of it. Certainly, I can take you and I can mute you. As to why I can't right now, I'm not. Oh, I think it's because you were muted.
Yes.
Right. You're talking now. If I decide I've had enough of you, I can mute you here. And I can also, tell me if you're actually seeing this. If I go into the People's panel, are you seeing the People's panel
Yeah,
now?
I'm seeing the people now.
On Teams?
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Yeah, forget all that stuff that I just said. If I just, yeah, what do you know? I can find someone here. I can take Lisa and I can choose to make an attendee that will demote her permissions, right? And if we do that, I can also remove her from the meeting. That doesn't exclude her from joining again. So that's one level of me adjusting others' ability to use some of the functionality. But I can also go under, I think it's under View and more options. I can turn off incoming video, which means it'll kill everybody's video feeds, right? Which is an important thing. And again, on the participants panel, I believe, I thought it was under maybe at the top. There's normally a button that I see on, again, people button brings up the participants panel, and that's where you can mute everybody. As to why I'm not seeing it today, I'm not sure. Maybe somebody can tell me. I'm going to pull this out of the way here. All right. My intention was to show you how to hide this link on the homepage underneath the button, make it a little more elegant. If that's of interest to you, I'll wait for you to. It's a simple thing. I'll wait if someone wants to tell me if that's a useful thing, or if there are other things top of mind that we need to talk about.
Yeah, your one basic video covers that really well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Like all of this, really, but it's just nice to see it live. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else with a thought of what they think they need to see? Again, I can't stress enough that the things that are covered in the video, again, they're not perfect, but there's a lot of content there in not a lot of time. So I'd suggest you take a look. Catherine, what do you need?
Hey, Andrew. So just a quick question. I was kind of playing around with this as you were going. So I went to like a page, I edited it, I tried to add the link, and then I clicked on the team settings like you did so that I could go in and kind of review those
Yep.
7 categories, and nothing happened. My screen is still spinning. I can't get into those settings.
Um, I don't know what to say. I've never experienced that before. I've been using that integration for 5 years.
Lucky me.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
Catherine, you got 2 weeks for it to spend before the classes start. So
Right.
don't worry.
Craig?
there's,
I know.
there's plenty of time. You understand that when you click on that meeting options or meeting settings link, it does open another tab. So you might want to kill the tab.
I've done it 4
Try-
times.
Well, why are you complaining? Why are you complaining to me?
I don't know.
Sorry, I honestly, again, Teams is a complex
Yep.
platform, and I'm not pretending. None of us are pretending to be any sorts of experts on it. But very
Maybe,
interesting.
Try a different black browser.
Maybe I'll just go back to Zoom.
Yeah.
I won't comment on that.
Thank you.
I have nothing personally against Zoom. John, how are you doing? Waiting for John. Or not? I haven't disallowed his microphone, so.
Okay, well, I think it's all right.
Okay, got it. You bet.
Thank you. From linked to what I used to do and Zooms and the purpose of it, I had individual evaluations usually at the end of the semester with my students. I would use Zoom. I would provide them with one link. They would choose a time. I would give them a time slot. They would choose it. And then they will connect. So I would have a 20-minute meeting with each of the students. I would have that recorded. I would,
Right.
then pause it
Right.
and restart the meeting for the next student. So if someone was in the lobby, I would just be blocked
Right.
until his or her meeting time came up. So from what I heard in what I saw today, it seems like I can do the same thing in Teams. The only question that I have is regarding the privacy of those recordings. First of all, where are those recordings going to remain? And second, who can have access to them?
Okay, let me unpack some of this. First of all, I think you're right. If I had a need like you have, I would set up a meeting just for those one-on-one meetings. I would probably go into the meeting settings such that everyone is forced into the lobby, not the meeting proper. And then I would I would let users in from the lobby as needed, right? By going to hitting the people button and on the participants panel, letting them in. So manually, but that's how I would do it. I have concerns over the recordings as well. Well, not just me, all of those that know on the certainly on the ID team. By default, well, first of all, recordings are in your M365 account, in your OneDrive. That's actually where they go. At the end of a session, again, we've done some testings on, and I'm a little fuzzy on this now, but what we want to do certainly is turn off the default characteristic for the users to get a copy of the recording upon completion of the meeting. I think that's a little crazy, but that's kind of how it works. So we're working on that. So be aware that students may get a copy of the recording unbeknownst to you. We've certainly seen that happen. Okay.
Would that be, sorry, would that be only of that particular person that recorded or
No.
anybody in the class?
No, it would go to anyone who was in the meeting at any time. So you would think that all of the students would be in that singular meeting, right? But if you set up another meeting, another unique meeting just for those meetings, I'm not exactly sure who will get the link to the recordings. I'd need to test that out. I'm not sure how that would work, because I think the only reason why a link goes out to all of the people who were in the meeting is because they were in the meeting. This is on a general meeting, and I appreciate I'm not explaining this particularly well. But one thing that should help is that since February 1st, I think the IT group has engaged with Kaltura to design and configure an integration to allow the automatic uploading of recordings into your My Media. Okay, so that's what you've been used to for the last, couple of years with Zoom, right? You make a recording, it magically appears in My Media, and then it's for you to distribute how you wish. I am desperately hoping that once we've enabled that the automatic sharing of recordings in Teams proper doesn't happen, or that we can turn it off. But right now it's an unknown. So be careful about the recordings. It may well be that you don't have a chance to edit them before they are shared.
Okay, thank you.
I know this is it's a cautionary thing from my point of view. I've been burned by it as well. Anything, we're at the 3:01 mark. I can be here all day if that's of any use to you. Are there any particular questions? Don't be shy. Do you want to see the breakout rooms?
Yes, I was curious about the breakout rooms. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm muting here. I didn't put my hand up like a good student.
Sure. And Melissa is.
So I had my issue with them is Cameron showed me one time Red Cell Montgomery, and he was like, "This is where the rooms are, and they're super easy to find." And I was like, "Oh, there they are. How was I so stupid that I missed them?" And then a part-timer was using Teams, teaching in the high flex room. And I think he was using the desktop app, which I would assume would be better than using a browser.
Right.
And rooms were not there because he was like, "How can I find rooms? Rooms aren't here." And I was like, "They're right here. I know where they are." I went in there and then they weren't. So I was just like wondering what was going on there and like, is that something I'm gonna encounter?
Not if you follow our instructions on how to make the connection and how to make the meeting. Remember what I said is that if you make the meeting the way I just showed you, that will you are then the organizer. The organizer is high level permission. Organizer will have the rooms button on the navigation menu. So that's simply it. As to why that one user didn't have, it would have been because he was a presenter or an attendee. And how he had that permission level, I don't know. I can only guess. But Craig, it's a good question. But what I'm saying is you're used to being participants in Teams meetings that are organized by others. You don't see the rooms button, right? Like in the meeting that we're in right now, you don't see it, correct? I'll take that as a
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right. And yet it's it's staring at me in the face. And in fact, if you are not pulling my leg, and if you can see the screen that I'm sharing now, you can see that there's a rooms button here.
Right.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure
I don't know.
I'm not sure
Yeah.
why you're able to see that at this point, but there you go. So I appreciate that rooms to many in Teams meetings sounds like some kind of a mystery. It's only because you haven't seen the button. But if you do what I say and make that link to your in your course and play with it, you'll have the rooms button. And honestly, I'll take a moment to show you how they work. In fact, if you want, we can all jump into a meeting room for a breakout room for a moment or two. I'm going to click on rooms. Can you see the breakout panel on the right? Create breakout rooms. Are you seeing that now?
Yes, we are.
Is that right, eh? Well,
I know.
I,
Mind is blown.
I don't know. I'm going to make 5, right? I will make 5 meeting rooms. I will, again, I have 3 options here and I think it was Melissa who was saying, hey, I need some choices as to how the users pick their rooms or not. We can let people choose the rooms, manual assign or automatic. I will automatically assign into these 5. I'll hit the create rooms. That creates the rooms by default. Give it a second. I don't know, again, how you're able to see this, but that's fantastic. You can see my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rooms, and you can see the assignments, the enrollments have already happened. There's 3 that are in room 1, 3 that will be in room 2, 3 in room 3, and onwards. If I don't like the name of these rooms, I can configure those by renaming, right? But more important is, one, they're not open yet, so you're not able to go in them. But I also want to confirm the configuration of them. This is again, what Melissa was talking about. I'm going to go into the gears. And for my example here, I'm going to choose to set a time limit of, let's say, 1 minute. So you're going to be able to be in your room for a minute. I will automatically move people. That's a default setting. So within 10 seconds of me opening the room, you will all scatter into your rooms. But I'm going to let you return to the main meeting at any point that you like within that minute. Okay? So I'm going to save those settings and I'm going to jump back and open the rooms. Now, you have about 10 seconds before you're assigned to your new meeting, and I'll see you back here in a minute. And people starting to come back.
I was just curious with the rooms, do these settings, like if I make them in advance
Yes.
and name them something, they're gonna save?
Yes. Yes.
Well, that's much.
Oh, it's beautiful. The next time you go in, once you've made a set of rooms, next time you go in, those rooms will be available. Yeah. So
Thanks, Andrew. I gotta get going, but. that was
okay.
great.
Thanks. I'm again, rooms are just what you would expect. What you've been using in same as you've been using in Zoom. All right. Any other questions? Again, we're over time. Thank you for waiting. Melissa, you've got a question?
Yes, sorry, I had accidentally left the meeting for a minute when you were talking about recording the meetings. And I noticed at the start of this meeting that I could just turn on recording the meetings myself. And that's something that we don't typically do for synchronous classes and don't allow our students to do. So I'm wondering if we can turn that.
I've never seen, that's a great question. I'll have to elevate that to Microsoft or our internal guys. I've not seen a setting that disallows or that allows you to disallow the recording of a meeting. I've not seen it. So yeah, but again, I'm concerned a lot about the recordings in Teams meetings because I don't think you have enough, frankly, there's enough control over them. But Amy and I'll write that down to try to get some clarification on.
Yeah, because that's something I'd like to really know because we can't, if students have no incentive to be in a synchronous class because the student can record it and then share it with everyone, then they will not be there. And that's exactly what's going to happen if we are allowing recording and that without like the students getting express permission, because we can do and those kinds of things, but then they don't have permission to share it with other students. So
Right. So you're one of those people that feel there's value in students coming to class. Is that true?
we have that are synchronous.
That was a tongue in cheek, by the way.
Posted and they can do it at home on their own. So yeah.
All right, we will, again, what I started this whole thing saying that we're all learning together. I know that sounds peculiar. You would think that I'd be some sort of an expert up here, but nobody is from what I see. So keep sharing those needs and your own experiences, and we'll all be better for it. Any other questions while we're here? Carol, again, I want to shout out to Carol here. Carol's been here a long time, and I know she's choosing to exit the ship at maybe the right time. But congratulations and nice to see you. Okay, any questions? All right, so be on the lookout for messaging about the Kaltura integration that, again, we hope will be operational in the very near future. That'll save you some time and effort. Right now, once a meeting recording is finished, you'll get an alert in your Teams and you will then follow a procedure to download that file, and then you will need to manually upload it to My Media for you to be able to use it in your courses. Okay, that's the short. And Craig would say, "Hey, watch the video. It's all explained in there." Go ahead, Craig.
Yeah, what I would say is just watch the video and then see it there. But the question would be, I think it comes up in the meeting chat that that the video is ready, right?
Not the
And-
meeting,
and-
not the meeting chat, but in
Okay.
the Teams chat, the larger Teams platform chat.
Okay, yeah, so that's, because I'm wondering whether the students would see that.
I'm afraid they do, yes.
Yeah, because that's the thing is just trying to understand that and then the editing. So I haven't seen the video, but I think you have a video on how to edit those meetings. Because that's usually what I do in Kaltura, right? I usually chapter it, and I know
Right.
in Teams you can chapter it. But maybe I just stick with Kaltura.
Well, what again, and it's not just because I'm a Kaltura guy, but all of our efforts are to continue to bring video content into Kaltura, right? That is our singular streaming media platform for on the academic side. So if you want to share a video with your students, it's, you need to put it into Kaltura. I know there are some who don't do that and they do their own thing, but I'm telling you that's what's expected, right? Is that video content lives in Kaltura. And Craig, you're going to continue to do what you've been doing, which is get the video into Kaltura, and Kaltura is my media, right? In my canvas. It's that button on the global navigation menu, and edit in there. Yes, you can edit in Clipchamp. I've run sessions on Clipchamp. Clipchamp is really neat, but I would suggest that most of you won't do any of that. You'll instead bring it into the very familiar My Media, which is Kaltura. And if you want to do some simple edits and change your thumbnail and edit the captions, that's where you're going to do it. So I hope that sort of simplifies things for you. Are there other ways to do any of this? Yes, there are. But I would suggest you continue doing what you're doing. The difference right now is that you have to manually get the file from Stream and upload it to My Media before you can edit or publish it. Hope that's clear. All right. All right, we're winding down here. Thank you very much for your attention, your questions. We'll get back to everybody on some of those outstanding questions. I'll stay on until you all leave. Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, John. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Andrew.
You bet, Carol.
Andrew, can I ask you a question quick?
Sure.
Sorry, I just realized, like I had to pop off and then pop back on, and my colleague Melissa there asking me a question about recording. Do you, like, just out of curiosity, because I just looked and I found the button for me to just start recording out of curiosity. Are you notified that I'm recording right now?
I noticed just about 15 seconds ago.
Yeah. So
Yes.
is everyone made aware? Are you made aware, or how are you made aware, or how did you know?
I don't know. It's something strangely that in our testing and considerations of all this, I don't know that we've really talked about it before. But
Yeah, I guess I'm just concerned with like the privacy, like college privacy policy, with other students, even myself, like, with Zoom and, accepting a recording or not. That's a little bit, well, not a little bit, a lot concerning, actually.
Well, yeah, I think we went, I recall we sort of went through this with Zoom as well, right? And Zoom were like Teams, they make it obvious enough to the participants that there is some recording happening either globally, like from your perspective as the organizer that that you've set the meeting up to behave that way, or that again I'm seeing perhaps for the first time a participant who was chosen to record, and I got that alert, but it's sort of news. It's news to me.
Yeah.
Amy would have got the same alert,
I
but
did.
Yeah.
and
There's a thing in the chat, though. It gets saved to the meeting organizer's OneDrive. So it doesn't matter who records it. It goes to their
Okay.
OneDrive. So Bernadette created this meeting for us. So it's in her OneDrive. So it'd be up to her to delete it or change the permissions on it. So if the student were to do it, you could
Okay.
go in, delete, change the settings.
but
Okay, that's good to know.
but how available is it? Like, these are the questions that are coming out of the session.
Okay. And then you know how there's different, like with Zoom, there were different, like what if you're using two screens as a professor and I like record the screen of the slides and not record the screen with all the students? So do you know how that works when you're using multiple screens and then recording? Do you have the ability to choose what gets recorded exactly? Do you know what I'm saying? So that other student names aren't there if I want to post it the following year, let's say.
Right.
Just for confidentiality's sake.
Well, you probably noticed that I was kind of blown away today by the fact that I was sharing screens, which in fact had your names on them. And I don't, in my experience, I'm shocked that that happened, and I didn't do anything differently. So I can't, I can't answer that.
No, yeah.
And it's a great, you know what it is? It's a fundamental question, and I'm not sure.
Of course. Yeah.
So I'm disappointed that I don't have an answer, that we don't have an answer. And I know these are, like, we know these are things that are important to people, right? Knowing how and when, and do I have control over it, and all that kind of stuff. So we'll look into that.
I was gonna ask, like, from my, like, where I stand, and I'm thinking, like, who can I reach out to regarding this concern, and it being like a college policy, privacy policy, like, do I just email Siebert, or do you have some sort of, with the integration of Teams, have some sort of means of communicating, you know, these challenges and these concerns that are brought up by faculty with the college-wide team?
The short answer is yes. You know, we have, and by we, I mean it's people like Amy or me and a couple of others, you know, have some ability to put forth, that's our job, right? To put forth, and some of us take it pretty seriously. We represent you. So having said that, what we often find is that, well, that's sort of how the tool works, right? And I'm just being honest when I say something like, hey, I've never seen a setting that you have where you have control over something. I've not seen it. It doesn't mean that Microsoft doesn't allow that for some tier of user. You know, I'm still baffled over why we don't have access to the video filters. You know, because there's a lot of people that really dug Zoom because they looked a little prettier, right? In Zoom. It's like it's a small thing, but it's a huge thing. But you have to have a different tier. And for me to discover this, like it took and I only tell the story because that's one small example of, is it possible in Teams meetings? Hey, it could well be, but not for us, right?
Yeah.
And but if it's important enough to the community, that they have this functionality or that functionality, it's certainly worth asking and talking about it, like to your point, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
Yeah.
like, honestly, when we are testing these things, we see behaviors that will, certainly for us, raise a flag, and we'll think, holy shit, this is not good. We need to be able to shut this off. And frankly, I've not been real encouraged by the settings, like the controls in Zoom were extraordinary, right? They are, and I was going through them again on the weekend because I haven't looked at them in a long time. And I think, wow, this is dense. Like there's a lot in here, not so much in Teams. So thank you for, I don't know, thanks for bringing it up. And
Yeah.
yeah, if it's critical, like mission critical for you, that students be able to do this or not be able to do that or whatever it is, if you could actually scribble that down
Yeah.
in a message and send it to me or I don't know who, but I'd like to see it.
Yep, for sure. Should I like send it specifically to you and
Sure.
Amy, or should I send it to like, is it digital skills that? No, just to you. Okay, okay. Um, yeah, and I could get a lot more people on board with this. Pretty much probably my whole faculty.
Listen, it's
They're the same.
no, unless we don't care if you're being honest and you're representing, if you know of a whole bunch of people that are really going to care about this, that, or the other thing, then from our point of view, it's enough. Like, you don't have to get a petition going.
No,
Right?
we have something to bring forward.
Yes,
I definitely understand. Yeah. I'm gonna just jot down your names quick here, just so I know and be
sure,
able to look. Okay,
sure.
perfect. No, thank you. I won't take up any more of your time.
Okay. No, I appreciate it.
Appreciate it and appreciate the conversation.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Should we talk here or can't hear you?
We can jump to the other one if you want.
Yeah, let's jump to the other one.